Hi everyone, welcome back to Scribble Fix. Today this video is going to be a little bit different. I've been wanting to do a Q&A video, so I reached out to my social media followers for some questions, and boy did I get a lot. So without further ado, let's start. Okay, the first question is from Blipsqueak on Twitter, and they've asked me, where do you think digital art will be in 10 years? This is a great question, and firstly, I believe that VR, virtual reality art, if that counts, is going to be a big part in the digital art category in the future, and it's going to change the game. But that doesn't mean 2D digital art, like drawing in Photoshop and like that kind of thing, will disappear. I feel that there is still going to be a huge demand for that kind of thing, so it will definitely stick around, even get more popular. But to be honest, it's hard to know what it will be like in 10 years time. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Okay, next one. Hayley Hulock Barwick from Facebook asks me, any advice for someone who ain't that great at art but wants to get better? I think people are going to be able to guess my answer to this. The answer is practice. Practice, practice, practice. You need to practice your art to get better. Even if it's just a quick drawing or sketch in the morning or each day or even a couple times a week. There isn't any way around that. Nobody was born with art skills, so you have to put in the time to be able to develop it. I recommend looking at anatomy references. There's nothing wrong with looking at photos and even stuff from life to copy so that you can get better at drawing people or animals or whatever you want. Just remember, if you're using someone else's art as a reference, it's always a good idea to ask them first, because copying people's art without permission is bad, okay? Matt Stella asks, if you had to pick only one form of art, drawing, painting, etc., which one would it be? Personally, if I was only able to do one type of art, it would be drawing with my Copic markers. They are my favorite medium to use, and I just love the way they blend, and the colors are so vibrant and so pretty, and yeah, they are great to use. I feel that I'm more experienced with them than I am with other mediums like watercolor and pencil and digital, that kind of thing. I do love those, but Copic markers is my #1 go-to medium. Tennille Webster asks me, what do you use for inspiration when you want to draw but you can't think of something to draw? I know the perfect thing for that. I use Jazz's Arty Games app. It's a really good app that has challenges and prompts to draw, and yeah, it's really fun and easy to use. But before I had that app, what I would do, I would put a few random words into a hat and pick out a bunch and just draw something that incorporated them. So say the words were big, purple, happy, water. I would draw a purple elephant having fun at the beach. Silly example, I know, but the randomness is what helps. It can help you to draw something that you usually wouldn't, and makes you think outside the box. I also look up art challenges on YouTube, like the 3-marker challenge or the blindfolded drawing challenge, and they can be a fun way to warm up, so that once you've done that, it helps get the creative juices flowing, so to speak. Okay, next question. Kate Jenkins asks me, what advice would you give to parents who want to encourage an older child to develop their skills? Now that's a really good question, but I'm not a parent, so I'm unsure what I would do exactly. But when I was a child, my teachers at school were really supportive of my art, and I was even given a how to draw book by one of them, and that really kick-started my art journey. There are a lot of amazing how to draw books on Amazon, but I also recommend showing them art videos here on YouTube. They're free to watch, and it can really spark inspiration. I recommend showing them the YouTubers called Bailey J and Draw with Jazza. They are amazing artists who do tutorials and illustrations, and I've gotten so much inspiration from them. And it's what has driven me to make my own art channel on YouTube. There are also a lot of awesome competitions online where you can win cool stuff for doing art, and that can help motivate people, especially young people, to keep creating. And I know Draw with Jazza actually does monthly competitions, and they are great fun to take part in. But there's a lot online, and yeah, I hope that answered your question. Kaya, I hope I pronounced your name right. Sorry. Asks, what do you say, if anything, when someone puts down their own skills or style in envy of yours? That's a really important question because it happens a lot. I would say everyone is on their own path or journey with their art, and every path is different. You may feel your art isn't as good, but maybe you just haven't been drawing as long as that person has. You never know what their art was like when they were still learning. They could have gone to art school to get their skills. All you have to do is practice and put in the time and effort, and your art can be just as good. There are no limitations with art. If you want to be the next Leonardo da Vinci, you can. You just need to draw and draw and draw and keep at it. Who knows? Someone might be looking at your art and thinking the same things. We are our own worst critics, and some people are never 100% happy with their own art, but they just use it as motivation to get better and better. Have fun with it, and don't think, oh, they're so much better than me. Instead, think, if I practice hard, I can be as good as that. I hope that answered your question. Anna Konwinski, sorry for butchering your name, asks me, describe your process from start to finish. How do you go about shading? How would you describe your art style? Lots of questions there. First off, I like to start out with a preliminary sketch. Just start off with blocking out the basic shapes and lines, paying attention to anatomy and proportions and posture, that kind of thing. Then I would refine the sketch by adding details over the top until I was happy with it. And then I would usually use my light box to trace the line art onto a different piece of paper. I do this because I like to keep my sketches, and also I hate erasing. Too many efforts. Plus it leaves me with paper that hasn't been overworked, so I don't have to worry about that. Shading depends on which medium I use. If I'm using my Copic markers, I usually start from light, then going to dark, going over with the lighter color in between to blend the colors out so it looks smooth. And I guess I would describe my art style as sort of cartoony. I used to draw more anime style drawings, but I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere with that, so I added in a bit of Western style and cartoony aspects, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. But my style is ever changing, so who knows what it will be like in the future. I sure don't. Kayla Louise King asks me, how did you learn to become a really great drawer? How did you fall into the style of art you produce? And how would you inspire someone who is interested in the art form to take up drawing or another medium? Good question, Kayla. I learned through hours and hours and hours of drawing over and over, hundreds of scrunched up pieces of paper and mistakes. But I kept going until I reached a level of skill that I'm sort of happy with. Again, you have to practice a lot to gain skills. I can't stress this enough. And I still have a lot more to learn. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep practicing. I gained my style by taking small aspects of anime, cartoon, Western style drawings, and just kept changing bits here and there until I was happy with what I got. Personally, to inspire someone, I would just talk to them about it. Show them art videos on YouTube. Draw with them. Have fun while at it. Make it a game even. Even if they're interested, if they are interested, they will join in. But if they don't want to draw, then that's their choice. You can't force someone to do art. They have to choose it. Draco asks me, which famous artist do you like the most? Okay, so I have a few that are my favorites. My number one favorite artist, shock horror, is Draw with Jazza. He's a great artist and he's entertaining and he's all around a pretty cool guy. My very close second favorite is Bailey J. She's really a talented artist who does amazing illustrations and she's really nice and funny and relatable. Other artists I like and follow are Mark Crilly, Loish and Leslie Lou Marie. There are plenty more, but those are the first that come to my mind. Charlie Brown says, talk about what paint and materials you like to use and why. Well, Charlie, my number one favorite medium to use is Copic markers, like I said before. They are just great to blend and they're vibrant. You don't have to wait for them to dry or anything like that. You can just keep drawing and layering and it's fun, to be honest. With some practice, they're an awesome medium to take up. I also like to use watercolor paints. They require a little more patience, but I just really love the cool effects you can get. Like when you use salt on it, or when you're using wet on wet techniques, or there's a sort of magic quality to them. Zachary asks, what inspires your art style? What made you want to do art in general? To be honest, a lot of things inspired my art style. TV shows I like, other artists I follow, random experimentation. All those things inspire me. I think it's ever changing though. And I've always been an arty person. My mum says that ever since I could hold a pencil, I've been drawing. But support from my teachers really boosted it. And also discovering the art community here online gave it a big boost too. Frederick from Twitter asks, do you prefer to draw flat or with your drawing surface at an incline? That's a good question. When I draw with my iPad, like with Procreate, I like to have it angled up a bit usually. I'll sit with it on my lap and just sit it up and draw. But when I draw with traditional materials, I kind of have to have it flat so I can record it for YouTube. It helps that I can glance up at the camera screen so I can still get a top-down view when I want to check proportions, and that helps a bit. So it depends what I'm doing. Seb asks, how did you get started with art? What's your favorite medium and what inspires you? Most of those were touched on already, but I'll just say that I was given a how to draw book as a child and that started me for the most part. My favorite medium is Copic markers, and YouTube artists and TV shows inspire me. Seb also asks, how does creating make me feel? And to be honest, it's really hard to explain. Creating art makes me feel amazing. I love creating something from nothing. It gives me a sense of purpose, like it's what I was made to do. And I know that's cheesy, but that's how I feel. And when I don't create art, I just feel frustrated and it's wrong. So yeah, I hope that explains it. Art's awesome. Midnight Cross asks, which artists inspire you the most? And how long have you been drawing for? So yeah, Jazza and Bailey inspire me the most, as I've mentioned before. And I started art when I was very young. I've been drawing for as long as I could remember. My mum said I started showing interest in creating when I was like 3 or 4, and I just never stopped. So yeah, that's all the questions I received. And if you are still watching, I just wanted to say a big thank you. I know this video was really long. I hope that this video was enlightening to some, and let me know in the comments what you think. What are your answers to some of these questions? Do you have more questions that you want me to answer in the future? If so, ask away. I'll write them down. Maybe I'll make another Q&A video down the road. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the speed paint, and I'm sorry I didn't really get to talk about it much. There were a lot of questions and this video is pretty long already. So yeah, I hope you have an amazing day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!